Hello friends, it's Alina, and this video is a part of the Plan With Me videos, an interactive journaling series where we come together every full and new moon to set intentions and goals in alignment with the changing moon phases, seasons, and stars. So if that's something that interests you, then let's get started. All right, friends, welcome to the grand finale of 2020. In the next few days, or maybe today when you're watching this, we have the total new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And on top of the normal, very potent new moon energy that we see at the beginning of every new lunar cycle, we have it intensified by this eclipse, this being the second eclipse in the eclipse season. And this is going to provide us with some high energy for planning, self-healing, and really manifesting fresh starts. As well, this manifesting, just intention setting energy will feel a lot more light and lifted. Specifically, it's going to be helping us with letting go of limiting beliefs, things that keep us a little too grounded or a little too stagnant, as Saturn on December 17th, a few days later, is going to be leaving the Earth sign of Capricorn and going into the more airy sign of Aquarius. And Saturn has been in the sign of Capricorn for the last 2.5 years. So it's really interesting to kind of look back and see any sort of patterns that are relative to our Capricorn and seeing what house Saturn is in and things like that. We also have the great conjunction happening on December 21st, that being 1221. I really noticed those mirrored numbers because that's actually my angel number, 1221. So I find that interesting. And the great conjunction is the conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter happening in Aquarius just a week after this eclipse. Now, this conjunction hasn't occurred this close together and in this sign of Aquarius in over 400 years. It's actually entering into a new phase where it will be in more air signs, as the last 400 years it was in earth signs. And you've probably already heard of the phrase age of Aquarius, and you've probably heard of people talking about how this year is actually marking the beginning of the age of Aquarius, how the Mayan calendars referring to 2012, they were actually referring to 2020, and we in our modern era actually got the timing wrong because our calendars are off from Mayan calendars. But there are many astrologers that believe that this great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter is the dawning of the age of Aquarius because it is moving into Aquarius and it's bringing in a lot more creative, innovative, and socially equitable energy moving forward. If you're interested in learning more about this, I actually have done an entire video covering every single detail, what you need to know about it, why is it significant, how the energy will impact you depending on who you are, what your sign is, all the things. And it will be coming out on the day of this new moon lunar eclipse. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you're notified when it goes up. So now is an incredibly energetically potent time to really get clear on what your intentions are as we wrap up this year for the next lunar cycle and even for the year ahead, 2021, as this will be the last new moon of the year that we'll be doing together. This eclipse in conjunction energy is really here to help us manifest more airy, creative, and innovative ideas. So if you're someone who's had any type of limiting beliefs that you have been dealing with and you have these ideas that you want to come out and maybe step into them a little bit more confidently or just be more open to different pathways for your life, this is such a potent time to be open-minded to all of that. So with all of that said, I just want to remind you or let y'all know, if you don't already know, the significance of the new moon. The new moon is the beginning and ending of the lunar cycle. It's time where the light from the moon has gotten low and it's about to start generating that light all over again. And it's a period symbolically in the sky reminding us to rest, to sit back and reflect and focus our energy more on planning ahead, strategizing, rather than really being in action and doing the most. So obviously you can do whatever you feel that you choose to do, but if you do feel a little bit more low energetically around this time, especially in the winter, this new season coming up, the winter solstice coming up, there's big messages from the earth during this season and from the sky at this time to really lay back and allow our energy to be cultivated within ourselves through self-reflection and introspection as we plan more in alignment with our needs and clearly what our intentions are for the next lunar cycle or year ahead. And with all of that said, these journaling prompts refer to the previous lunar cycle. And since this new moon total eclipse is happening midway through December, I invite you to reflect on the first half of December and the second half of November. If you have your Align Life or Auralign astrology planners, I invite you to turn to the new moon intentions pages where you can write all of this out. That is linked in the description below if you're interested in learning about it. I'm actually almost sold out if you have been waiting on ordering yours, but if you don't have one, you don't need it. All you need is a pen and paper. So like I said, this is an interactive journaling prompt video. So when you see the questions pop up, I invite you to pause, journal it, unpause, and we'll just get started with some reflective questions. I am currently manifesting and wish to manifest what? What will it look like when I accomplish or reach these goals? The feelings these intentions evoke within me include what's been working for me in terms of work-life balance. Now, break down these goals into actionable steps by creating a list for monthly actions, weekly routines, and daily habits. All right, now to the more customized questions to this specific total new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. So this new moon inspires us to turn more inward and examine personal philosophies and spiritual beliefs and where they stem from, why we practice them, and how they serve us. What spiritual or mindfulness practices have served you the most this year or sparked your interest the most? Why do you find these practices interesting or helpful for you in comparison to the many religious and spiritual practices around the world? What practices or activities have provided the most self-clarity for you in the past? All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of these questions for myself to hopefully spark some conversation. And if anything came up for you while journaling that you feel open to sharing to start conversation in the comments, I invite you to leave them down below. So right now I am currently manifesting a continued rhythm to my consistency on this channel. And what I mean by that is close to the beginning of quarantine was when I really dove deep into meditation, and it served me so much that by the time it was May, the beginning of summer, I started posting guided meditations for the full and new moons on here, and that really changed things a lot for me. I hadn't realized how many like-minded individuals like yourselves were out there, and before I started doing that consistently, literally posting my videos in alignment with the moon phases, I had a hard time finding consistency with that. So what I'm manifesting moving forward for the rest of December and for 2021 is staying committed to that consistency. And I actually wrote down, I did this guided meditation. I'm gonna leave a link for you because I put this meditation into one of my newer full moon videos, but the meditation kind of took me to a place where I talked to my future self. And it was after I got into a deep meditative state. So it almost felt like I was able to speak to my subconscious really clearly. And the message that I got from it that I've put up on my wall to remind me of the importance of consistency, I put, there is an energetic pattern to consistency. It gets easier to fall into good patterns just as well as bad. Choose the good. And I'm telling y'all, like, I specifically with YouTube, like, there's a bunch of things that I do because I write and I create, metaphysical products, stationary products, specifically the Auralign astrology planner that I've put my heart and soul into. I love it so much. But so I do a lot of things, but those things have their own rhythm to them. Whereas on YouTube, and if you make videos or if you want to be on social media, you may or may not know this, consistency is key to all of it. I'm actually going to do a whole video talking about how to start a YouTube channel in 2021. But all of that to say, my channel completely transformed when I was more consistent and intuitive with the videos that I put up, where I just tried to be more conscious and tapped into what y'all wanted to hear and experience at the time. And that's why I do these customized videos that are custom to that new moon, that full moon at the time. But anyway, that's what I'm working to manifest moving forward, because it's really transformed the channel. Like, I feel like I shouldn't say this out loud, but it's the end of the year, and you know what? It doesn't hurt to ask, but if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, can you please just do that right now? Like, I know that everybody asks for people to do that, but it's just, we look as YouTubers, we look at our analytics, like most of us do, to make sure that we're doing well, and also just to see how we can improve upon ourselves. And the biggest thing that sticks out to me all the time is that like half of y'all aren't even subscribed to me, but y'all come back to the videos sometimes, and like, I appreciate you doing that. Like, keep doing that, do you. But like, I just think about how, like, especially on YouTube, I know on Instagram, sometimes people don't want to follow a lot of people because they like the follower to following ratio to be different. I don't know, it's weird. So I know that some people have like that thing in their mind, but like, you don't lose anything by like subscribing to somebody on YouTube, for real. Like, especially if you mess with their content. Like, I feel like y'all, especially if you're this far into the video, I don't know, I got a feeling that you're kind of messing with me a little bit. You kind of like what I'm putting out. I hope that you do. Anyway, all that to say, I would appreciate if you did that, because when you do something like that, also, you're also helping small influencers or, you know, content creators when they work with brands, because then they have more leverage to ask for more compensation when they do work. So by you subscribing, you really are helping them build something, and you're helping them have more equity, more social media equity, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. Something that has been working for me in terms of work-life balance, specifically with social media, has been two things. One of them, I wrote these down, has been muting and unfollowing social media accounts that have left me feeling like I wasn't enough, like I wasn't doing enough or working hard enough when I know I am. Oh, the other thing that I did is I don't allow for my phone to get notifications for my work email anymore. And I say that because I used to get notifications all the time on my phone for my work email, and I would get kind of stressed out because sometimes I get emails on the weekend, but I don't answer them if it's like a Sunday, or sometimes Saturdays too, depending on like if it's holidays right now. And that would kind of stress me out. So those are the two things that I did. And I specifically want to make the distinction when it comes to muting and unfollowing people on social media. I was just talking to a friend about this because, we're social media people, right? So I realized, for example, with WellnessCon, I started this annual wellness event specifically showcasing Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are healers in the space, and really amplifying them. That way we can learn from them, and we can learn about like the background behind Indigenous wellness practices, which makes up most of what is considered New Age. It's really like the colonization of, the extraction, these isolated extractions of all these wellness things around the world that we don't have, because we don't have a slow cooked culture in our Western society that way. So anyway, I did that, right? But then I started following all these accounts that were doing similar things. And at first it was motivating, but then after a while, like I kind of felt like this is the analogy that I make to make it clear. And this is why I feel like people shouldn't feel bad about this. Imagine literally like 50 years ago, before the internet, before all this, imagine you opened up a toy store. How crappy would you feel to have a toy store directly across the street from another toy store that's doing 5 times better than you? Most people who open up stores, our ancestors, literally 50 years ago, before all the social media, most of the time when somebody opened up a store, they didn't have to be across the street from their competition, constantly seeing what they were up to, right? Like, and not even competition, that's the thing, it isn't competition, but you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to be directly across the street from somebody doing the same thing as them and be in the mindset all the time of comparison, even when they didn't want to be. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I was just thinking about that and thinking about how we shouldn't be hard on ourselves. Even like when it says like, oh, have self-control, do this and that with the social media. It's very important to understand that literally, like, my boyfriend works in video game design for like phone apps, and even he talks about this, but you can look this up, look at The Social Dilemma, all these things. They've literally designed social media platforms to be like a lottery system, to be like gambling. So it's specifically designed to be addictive. It's specifically designed to make you more reactionary depending on the platform. And so I don't know, I feel like sometimes we can feel bad about not wanting to follow people who make us feel crappy about ourselves in one way or another, even if it's just them living their best life, right? You know, okay, I'm just kind of going on a rant, but I hope y'all get what I mean. Like, comment below if you ever experienced that. But anyway, I'm not afraid to say it too, because sometimes I get self-conscious of that, but it's important to remember, like, we're going up against like AI at this point. Like, we're going up against something when it comes to our self-esteem and our worldview, right? It can be so skewed on social media because that isn't fully reality, right? Everyone's showing their best selves. And then we see our entire reality unfiltered, and then we consciously or subconsciously sometimes still compare it. And it's just not, it doesn't make sense, y'all. So anyway, that's what's really been working for me. I'm kind of going off a little bit, so I have all these papers with little notes, but yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video, but if you made it to the end of it, I invite you to comment 3 notebook emojis. They can be any notebook. I know that there's like 5 different ones, but commenting these emojis not only lets me know that you made it to the end of the video, it also lets the YouTube algorithm know, because when you comment, not only does it help your algorithm recommend more content like this if this is something that you enjoy, but it also helps me in that same way be recommended to more people. And finally, if y'all have ever been interested in the Auralign planner, we are literally almost sold out. We're almost sold out of our inventory. They haven't even gotten here yet for me to send out the pre-orders. So if you're interested in that, I literally only have, I think, like 20 left as of recording this on on December 8th. I also want to mention, if you have pre-ordered your Auralign planner, they are on their way, okay? I want to thank you so much for your patience. I want to thank you so much for pre-ordering. I am currently waiting for the planners, as they are in transit to me right now for my manufacturer, and they're scheduled to be here within the next week. As soon as I get them in my hands, I'm going to be packaging them all individually with so much love and care and sending them directly to you. And as soon as they are shipped, you will be automatically emailed a tracking number, and the average length of time that it takes to get to you if you are in the US is 1 to 3 days. If you are international, it varies depending on your country. So I just want to give y'all that update. I want to thank you so much. I know this is a lengthy outro, but I will see y'all in the next one, okay? With all of that said, I want to leave you with my favorite quote, and that is, be gentle with yourself, because life is about the journey and not the destination. All right.